This is Brett from the Brett Allen Show chatting with the mastermind behind this fantastic series. And of course, multiple others. My name is Earl. I can't even begin to tell you. Greg Garcia, thank you for your time today.
Oh, thanks a lot. It's good to be here. I like that Johnny Cash album over your record.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great. Well, let's talk about this. This is absolutely spectacular. Sprung. Just some of the best of the best. My first question would be, was it a no-brainer for you to cast some of these people because you've worked with them before? It's like the perfect storm. It's great.
Well, look, we have a little bit of a Raising Hope reunion in this one. I didn't cast as many of my old friends as I usually do on this one, but no, I wrote it for Garrett Dillahunt. I wrote the whole thing for him. I'm always looking to work with Garrett. He's amazing and really good friend. And he was an executive producer on this as well as the lead. And so that was from the beginning. And then Martha joined us a little late, actually. We had a casting change after the first week, and we called Martha, and she was in London, and she's a good friend to both Garrett and I. And we said, hey, you think you could be here in 2 days and start shooting? And she was like, absolutely, let's figure it out. And so we had to figure it out because when I first wrote the script, she was under contract somewhere else.
Okay.
But so she wasn't even an option, even though a lot of people said, oh, you wrote this role for Martha Plimpton. I was like, no, I didn't think I did, but apparently I did. But yeah, having them back on set together was a joy. They work so well together. The chemistry is always so great between the two of them. And hopefully audiences will enjoy seeing them together again.
Yes. From what I've seen, it is just absolutely fantastic. And I appreciate the sort of insider baseball on that, because it would seem that you wrote it specifically for both of them, because the Raising Hope reunion, it's just fantastic. There's a lot happening in this story. You've got a lot of comedy, a lot of action. It's funny as heck. I found myself laughing so hard, as I have with all your other projects. I'm very curious, when you are coming about an idea or you have something in mind, when you're writing this type of thing like comedy or whatever, do you have a specific process as a writer that you go to when you're putting ideas together, or are you just the archetype and you just sit down and start putting words on a page and kind of see how it takes form, specifically like this for Sprung or anything that you've done?
Yeah, basically, and I'm going through this process now with a new show. I'm kind of killing some time with coming up with, and my process is I get an idea for a show, and then I just kind of think about it for a while. If I'm driving in the car, I go for bike rides, I go for walks, and I just think about it, and I write little notes on my phone, and then I'll go home at the end of the day and I'll write some notes on the laptop, and maybe I'll start talking about one particular character. But it really starts with the characters and the story, and what story do you want to tell? And it's not good enough these days to just be like, well, I know the story for the first episode. You kind of have to think like through the first 10 and be like, what is the arc of this? What is it going to be? What's going to drive audiences from one episode to the next? So you're kind of thinking about all that stuff. And the other thing I tend to do is I want to think of like stories that could be dramas.
Okay.
I don't sit down and be like, oh, what's going to be funny? Like, what's a funny situation? How am I going to get people in funny situations? That's not how I think anymore. I think like, what is a story that if it's a drama, I'm going to be glued to the edge of my seat and I'm going to be interested in, and there's going to be fun twists and turns. And then it's once I sit down to write the script, then just naturally with the dialogue and how characters interact with each other and what have you, then the comedy reveals itself. And then even after I finish the first draft and I give it to some friends, then more comedy reveals itself, because then people will feel the need to be like, all right, well, what if they did this? Well, this could be funny, or this could be happening in the background in this scene. So the comedy comes as you write, but it always starts with just the characters, their journey, and the story.
Interesting. I like your perspective. I've had the pleasure and honor of talking to a lot of writers of some amazing TV shows. And I always like to hear that process, because I was wondering, when you're creating a show like Sprung, although it does have humor in it and it's funny, or Raising Hope, or My Name is Earl, whatever the case might be, I can imagine it would be kind of hard to try and be funny. Like, if that makes any sense, like it's not like a comedian where you're writing jokes and then you're running them, but you're just kind of creating situations and putting things down and then then it's like, oh, this is hysterical to see these people in
I
this
think it's
situation.
the hardest. I think if you just sit down and just try to be funny, I think that's the hardest thing to do. And I don't
Sure.
have enough confidence in my comedy to do that, really. I was talking to my kids about that sketch show, I Think You Should Leave Now on Netflix, which is just funny. It's just sketches. It's just funny. And like me, like I want to hide behind a good story, some characters you fall in love with, a nice sweet moment at the end, the way it looks, the way it's shot, and then the comedy's there. But it's not all just hinging on the comedy. That would scare me to death.
I love it. Well, Greg Garcia, you have knocked it out of the park once again with this Freevee original Sprung dropping on August 19th. I'm excited for people to watch this. People are just going to be blown away. And maybe let's put it out there, Raising Hope reunion. Maybe, I mean, we get them here, but whatever the television writing gods have in store.
You never know, right? You never know. They reboot stuff from time to time.
I know.
You never know.
Well, this one is fantastic, and my vote is for the other. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks.